News coming in right now. India Today's language war news break gets bigger. Prime Minister Modi wades into the language war. Prime Minister Modi's unifying message amid the language debate. Prime Minister Modi said BJP supports all languages. He said regional languages, spirit of India. Prime Minister Modi, of course, was speaking at the office bearers meeting of the Bharatiya Janata Party. He was virtually addressing that meeting, which is currently happening in Jaipur, Rajasthan. He addressed that meeting and he said that BJP supports all languages and regional languages are the spirit of India. Remember, India Today has been relentlessly reporting on the language debate which has been sparked off among celebrities who have in fact engaged in an exchange of words as well over which language is the official language, the national language, or a language which in fact holds and accords is to be accorded more significance. Now Prime Minister Modi has said that all languages are equal and regional languages in fact are the spirit of India. Listen in to Prime Minister Modi.
भाजपा भारतीय भाषाओं को भारतीयता की आत्मा मानती है और राष्ट्र के बेहतर भविष्य की कड़ी मानती है। इसका जिक्र आज मैं विशेष तौर पर इसलिए करना चाहता हूं क्योंकि बीते कुछ समय से देश में भाषा के आधार पर नए विवाद खड़े करने की कोशिशें की जा रही है। हमें इससे देशवासियों को निरंतर सतर्क करना है। भाजपा भारत की हर भाषा में भारतीय संस्कृति का प्रतिबिंब देखती है। हर भाषा उसे पूजनीय मानती है।
My colleague Devankur Vadhavan is now joining me live from Jaipur on this. Dev, a very clear message there from the Prime Minister that the regional languages in fact are the spirit of India. He had a unifying message for everyone across the nation who was listening in to this address, which was targeted for the office bearers meeting of the BJP, but there was a message in it for all.
Well, absolutely, Paulomi. The National Office Bearers meeting in Jaipur is going on in Amer, and out there through the virtual conference, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi joined in and sent out a unifying message mentioning that all languages, whether it be regional language or any other language for that matter, if it's an Indian language, then that is at par with the other languages of the country. Whether this message could have come earlier is something which can be up for debate. But apart from that, clearly the Prime Minister sending out a clear message mentioning that politics should not happen over whether any language is above any other language or not. This meeting which is going on in Jaipur, it's a 3-day collaboration of BJP leaders from across the board, national office bearers, and the attempt is being made to present a unifying stance. We witnessed yesterday how on the arrival of the BJP national president JP Nadda, there was a message that was sent out that the leaders of Rajasthan are together. We had former Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje, the current BJP state president Dr. Satish Punia, apart from the leader of opposition Gulab Chand Kataria, traveling in the same vehicle along the cavalcade which went from the Jaipur airport to Amer Hotel, which is the venue for the current meeting which is going on of the BJP's national office bearers. Remember that...
Dave, just hold on for a bit. We have Mr. Advocate C. Rajashekharan, in fact, joining us on the phone line right now. Sir, thank you so much for speaking to India Today. How do you react to the comments from the Prime Minister? We've seen this massive language war, this debate which has been ignited across the country. Celebrities, in fact, jumping into this debate, in fact, igniting this debate. Now, the Prime Minister says that the regional languages of India are indeed the spirit of India.
See, there was no war earlier with regard to language. We are always been celebrating every language of each state. We are a unique country at large. There was no war in existence with regard to anything. But since last 8 years, it is the celebrities and the other vested interests are being manipulated, and everybody wants to gain political mileage and brownie points. So the political power centers are shooting from the shoulders of these celebrities to create a war-like situation with language, with religion, with caste, all this stuff. But as an Indian, as decades I have seen or heard our ancestors living in this country, such a beautiful, diversified and unique country.
Vested
we
interests,
have not heard
Mr. Rajashekharan, when you say vested interests and someone shooting from the shoulders of these celebrities, who are you referring to?
Definitely the BJP, because the BJP is in power, and now the Honorable Prime Minister is just trying to make a clarification with regard to all this created. It is like pinching the baby and rocking the cradle. And it was unwarranted for anybody for that instance. So I see this as a political strategy because we are going to face the general elections in 2024. So everything happens with a purpose. Everything happens with a political interest. So nothing is done in the interest of the nation, in the interest of the people, and in the welfare of the states.
Okay, so you're saying that the BJP is in fact stoking this debate over languages across India. Mr. Rajashekharan, thank you so much for joining us on India Today. Let's listen in to what Prime Minister Modi said.
भाजपा भारतीय भाषाओं को भारतीयता की आत्मा मानती है और राष्ट्र के बेहतर भविष्य की कड़ी मानती है। इसका जिक्र आज मैं विशेष तौर पर इसलिए करना चाहता हूं क्योंकि बीते कुछ समय से देश में भाषा के आधार पर नए विवाद खड़े करने की कोशिशें की जा रही है। हमें इससे देशवासियों को निरंतर सतर्क करना है। भाजपा भारत की हर भाषा में भारतीय संस्कृति का प्रतिबिंब देखती है। हर भाषा उसे पूजनीय मानती है।
Let's cut across to my colleague Akshita Nandagopal, who is joining me live, in fact, on this. Akshita, if you can put things into perspective for us, this is something, a debate which has been sparked off, and celebrities have also jumped into this debate, this language debate, which has been happening for a while right now, where most MPs, celebrities speaking up for the people in the southern states have been saying that there is an attempt being made to impose Hindi on them, and this is them speaking out against Hindi imposition. Do you think the Prime Minister's message now will in fact try and soothe those nerves?
Very true, Paulomi. And it's gone beyond political. For the longest time, particularly in states like Tamil Nadu, this has been one of the biggest issues. And the fact that it's gone beyond political, the likes of Kicha Sudeep, who spoke to us here on India Today, who spoke to India Today's Kannada Tak, also raised this issue. It became a big Bollywood versus the other South film industries battle as well. All of that has perhaps prompted Prime Minister Narendra Modi to speak out today on this issue. It's not the first time that the BJP has really spoken on this, but perhaps one of the few times that Prime Minister Modi has felt the need to actually speak out on this and make it clear as to exactly what the BJP stand is. The reason for this is largely because of also the image that the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party, holds as far as, say, Tamil Nadu is concerned, where very often they are referred to as a Hindi party. Very often the BJP has been given this image and painted in this color of having promoted Hindi above all other languages. And this perhaps also settles the debate over what Amit Shah said. Home Minister Amit Shah just a few weeks ago had made a comment saying make Hindi the unifying, the link language, something that triggered a lot of extremely sharp reactions, particularly from the DMK as well as other political parties in the south. So all of this perhaps is what the Prime Minister is trying to iron out. But what I'd also like to highlight is that the biggest talking point as far as this entire language debate is concerned is what Kannada superstar Kicha Sudeep said to India Today's Kannada Tak. That's what perhaps set the ball rolling on this debate all over again. It got the entire nation talking. So I just want to play out for our viewers right now exactly what Kicha Sudeep told us here on India Today's Kannada Tak that prompted a whole slew of reactions, including perhaps Prime Minister Modi's reaction today.
What Kannada star Kicha Sudeep said earlier.
Hindi is no more national language. So which is the national language today? Which is the national language?
No national language.
Correct? So what is pan-India? Just because ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಆ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕಾ ಪ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು? ಅರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ, ನೋಡೋದು ಬಿಡೋದು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು, ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಡೋದು ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವಿರೋದು. So because we come from South India, they've started terming us pan-India, pan-India, pan-India. Why isn't Hindi being said as pan-India? ಅವರು ಇವತ್ತು ತೆಲುಗು, ತಮಿಳು, ಮಲಯಾಳಂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆನೂ ಅವರು ಡಬ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಓಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿ ಡಬ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. So which is having a better reaction from the audiences today?
Okay, so you heard Kannada star Kicha Sudeep over there saying, why are we being termed as pan-India when Hindi movies are dubbed and are in fact played out in Telugu cinemas, in Tamil cinemas across the southern states, when they dubbed as pan-India. Brijesh Kalappa of the Congress Party is now joining us on the phone line. Mr. Kalappa, thank you so much for joining us and so patiently holding on to that line. Prime Minister Modi has now in fact sent out a message while he was addressing the office bearers of the Bharatiya Janata Party. He said that regional languages are in fact and indeed the spirit of India, and no attempt should be made to divide India on the basis of a language. Your reaction, sir? Mr. Kalappa, can you hear me, sir? Okay, we'll try and reconnect with Mr. Brijesh Kalappa and let's get in a Congress reaction from him. But you heard Prime Minister Modi over there. Prime Minister Modi there sending out a message, a very clear message. Very rarely have you heard the Prime Minister, in fact, speak out on this issue. He, in fact, has now waded into this language war which has been ignited across the country. In fact, it was sparked off after an exclusive interview that Kannada star Kicha Sudeep gave our sister channel, Karnataka Tak, where he basically said that when southern movies are dubbed in Hindi, they do well, they are well accepted, they are dubbed as pan-India. Why is it that when Hindi movies are in fact dubbed in southern languages, played out in cinemas across, they're dubbed as pan-India? Why is Hindi the national language in that sense? Akshita Nandagopal is now in fact joining me right now from the newsroom. Akshita, you know, earlier we were speaking to Advocate Rajashekharan and he in fact was alleging, of course, politically alleging that it was the BJP which was trying to divide the nation, and the Prime Minister's words hold no water at all, even if he's trying to douse the fires right now. But the fact is, a debate has been ignited and the people of the South do feel isolated.
This is an attempt by the Prime Minister to essentially set the record straight, and the BJP has tried this time and again, Paulomi, but no one better really than the Prime Minister himself to kind of send out this message that the BJP, the party, at a party event, mind you, he said very clearly that all languages are equal for us, and that's because of the perception and the image that the BJP has in some of these states, like from where Mr. Rajashekharan hails, from Tamil Nadu, which is where in fact very often the BJP is called a Hindi party, is accused of Hindi imposition as well. It's a narrative that's also been pushed forward strongly by the likes of the DMK as well. And time and again, what doesn't help the BJP's cause is statements by Home Minister Amit Shah that said, you know, Hindi should be the link language, the unifying language. All of that essentially has worked against the BJP in the states, because there's an image then that goes across, a message that goes across that, you know, the BJP is pushing Hindi more than the other languages. And that's why the Prime Minister has felt the need today to come out and make it very, very clear as to exactly what the party stand is. Of course, several opposition reactions that we've gotten in here, they've made it very clear that they're not buying into the Prime Minister's message, that they don't believe that this is actually something that the BJP will walk the talk on. But having said that, it's a question of whether the people also are convinced about whether the BJP now sending on multiple messages from multiple leaders, and none other than the Prime Minister himself coming out to reassure that for us, all languages are equal, all languages are the same. That kind of a message is something that will cut across all of the clutter that we've seen in this particular debate, and also all of the criticism that the BJP's faced. The fact that the Prime Minister, in his hour-long address, felt the need to address this particular issue, felt the need to speak about this entire language debate itself speaks volumes about how much the BJP is actually considering this to be a big talking point and finding the need to actually become, pan-India, which is something that they are. But at the same time, as you mentioned, Paulami, with films and this entire debate about pan-Indian films, etc., this is a message that the Prime Minister is sending across, that as far as political parties also are concerned, it's important to send out that message of pan-India.
Absolutely. A very strong message there going out from Prime Minister Modi, where he basically has tried to end this language debate which has been sparked across the country, where he categorically states that regional languages are in fact the spirit of India. They are the unifying factor, and there is no one language which is in fact prominent over the other. Every language has its own significance, has its own prominence. So the Prime Minister there setting the record straight on this particular debate. Hopefully this ends the debate as to whether one language is more prominent than the other. Prime Minister Modi in fact was speaking earlier at the office bearers meeting. He was virtually addressing that office bearers meeting, which is currently happening in Jaipur. He was addressing that meeting and he's touched upon many subjects, and one of them, of course, very significantly, is this language debate which has been ignited across the country, especially after some very strong sentiments which were expressed by Kannada star in an exclusive interview to Karnataka Tak, our sister channel. Kicha Swadeep, in fact, said that in fact, why is it that Bollywood movies, Hindi movies, when they are in fact played out in cinema halls across southern India, are not referred to pan-India? Why are they automatically pan-India? And when southern films in fact make it big in northern India and across the country, they are referred to as pan-India. Earlier, they are expected to be somewhat small and possibly only restricted to their states. Listen in to what Kicha Swadeep said.
Hindi is no more national language. So which is the national language today? Which is the national language?
No national language.
Correct? So what is pan-India? Just because ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಆ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕಾ ಪ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು? ಅರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ, ನೋಡೋದು ಬಿಡೋದು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು, ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಡೋದು ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವಿರೋದು. So because we come from South India, they've started terming us pan-India, pan-India, pan-India. Why isn't Hindi being said as pan-India? ಅವರು ಇವತ್ತು ತೆಲುಗು, ತಮಿಳು, ಮಲಯಾಳಂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆನೂ ಅವರು ಡಬ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಓಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿ ಡಬ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಓಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಬೆಟರ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸಸ್ ಟುಡೇ? ಇವತ್ತು ನೀವು ಪುಷ್ಪ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನೀವು KGF ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟರು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಗೆದ್ರು.
Right. So you heard Kicha Swadeep over there expressing his sentiments over this debate, saying why is it that only southern films that make it big, like Pushpa, like KGF, like RRR, why are they being referred to as pan-India and not Hindi films, in fact, being referred to as pan-India when they, of course, are accepted in southern states as well? It was something that Ajay Devgan, in fact, debated with Kicha Swadeep over as well, but the Prime Minister now laying that debate to rest.